So I can't stop thinking about if you watch the last episode, there was that long hallway, and the narrator said if I go down that hallway, or if Stanley goes down that hallway, Stanley was going to die a violent death, and I cannot stop thinking, is it a bluff? Does it really have so this may be a short I gotta know. I just have to know. The thing that's got me a little bit bummed out is I thought I could resume where I left off. Unless I messed up somehow. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm gonna keep looking into it. Something's off, but let's we may just go down that hallway and see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything afterwards. I don't know how long. Yeah, and once again, I am kind of assuming that Stanley does meet his demise meet his demise down that hall. So um, let's get started here. I could have sworn I could have picked up where I left off, but
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
all right. And one of these episodes, we're just gonna stay in here and see what happens. These doors are all locked. I'm not
How
gonna worry about.
wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
That's different.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Let's turn these off. That's different. Maybe it did save the game and pick up. Look at all these papers on the. Let's turn off computers. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but why not?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Door on the right is a dead end, I think.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
And the other thing I want to do is I also want to go in the broom closet, but stay in the broom closet. But let's go up.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
What was that code?
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course,
I need to remember. I need to memorize that.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
2845. I need to remember that. Well, maybe I don't need to remember it because he's going to remind us. I'm so curious. I'm going to regret it, but I'm curious. It just seems so obvious to say that Stanley's going to die a violent death. It's just so obvious.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Here we go. It's a game, Leonard. Why are you nervous? Every single time we've gone there. This is the reason why you decided to boot up this game.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
No turning back. What if it's just an ongoing hall?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No. Let's go. Let's go. Oh. Can I not go? Okay.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ugh. Yes, we need to know. I need to know. I need to know. There's steps. Jeez. Well, now we now we know. Uh, oh, this is different.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Hey, wait. Wait.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Is this a trick?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
It's my office. I go out there. I make that turn. I turn off more computers. The pacing of this opening is right. The corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. And then the two doors, the narrator says go left, you go left. If you go right, it's a dead end. Can I click anything? It's interesting that that's where the corridor ends. I want to read these signs. The two doors. The set of two open doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. The office. Let's read the signs first. Button sounds, a selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard strike and a synthesized tone. I haven't heard those tones. I've been there. Office computers. Let's turn these off. Cool. Somebody's playing solitaire. Okay. Cool. Before we leave, let's... Alright, left or right. Doesn't matter. The office. Maintenance room. An early version of the maintenance room. Before I go up the steps, let's just see if these are steps as well. Steps. Office clock. Boss's office. I'm sorry, this is cool. Where does that go? Over here. Let's check it out. Okay. Underground, an early version of the underground portion of the game. Mind control facility. Narration outtakes. Okay. Okay. Now let's go up here. Freedom ending. This was the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. We've been there. Okay. Ending. No sound? Do I click it? Nope. Okay, wait a minute. It came from... Okay, I went up. And then I went this countdown desk. Oh, exit. What do I want to exit? Yeah, let's.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long
Ah. Wait a minute, though. So.
as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't
I want to know.
let time choose for you. Don't let time.
That was my favorite. I think that was my favorite scenario. I don't want to hit escape because there might be more. Maybe I should. I can resume. I want to. Let's. Maybe not. I don't have a loading screen. Save. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what it asked me the last time. No saved game. But it won't let me click. Is it messing with me? That's just dark. I do that. Oh. How did I do that? I clicked out here. But I have a saved game. So let's quit. Big load game. Okay. Wow. That was that was cool. What else is how many different variations, how many different scenarios are there? that one felt like my favorite. I think because of the anticipation of you know from the very moment I loaded this up, I knew I was going down that hall. Well, I still don't know how I saved the game, but I do have a saved game. All right, well, I appreciate you hanging out with me. We'll be back for more of the Stanley Parable. I'm curious now. I want to know what else is there? How many more scenarios are there? If I go in the broom closet, what happens? If I don't even leave the office, 427, what happens? All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and we will see you next time. Take care.